Hi, I'm John Alexandrov, and I'm back with Olympic gold medal champion Mike Eruzione. Mike, we just talked about your experiences in the Olympics and your teammates, and there's a couple of themes that you hit on several times, and one is your coach Herb Brooks. You know, and I look back over my life. I've had some special coaches in my life who literally took me on. You probably know one of them. He coached the women's Olympic softball team to 2 gold medals. His name was Ralph Raymond from Worcester, Massachusetts, and he was my high school football coach. And he literally transformed my life and helped me become the person that I've become. And I know coaches have had the same impact on you. How about some of the coaches that played an influence in your world? You mentioned your dad.
Right,
as well.
I've had great coaches. My high school football coach, Bob DeFelice, big influence in my life. My high hockey coach was a guy named Paul O'Brien.
Oh, yeah.
My high school baseball coach, Jim Evans, who I see even to this day, and when I see him, I still call him coach.
Yeah.
They were important parts of my life. They helped me understand what it takes to be successful, how hard you have to work to be successful. Spending extra time in the rink, extra time in the baseball field, extra time on the football field, places that I played and grew up in. Then when I went to college, prep school, a guy named Pop Whalen really gave me the opportunity to play hockey at the next level.
He's a legend around here.
Paul Levins is famous, great guy, great coach, who taught you the values and the work ethic that you have to have. Again, it's important to respect in the game of ice hockey. Then when I went to college, I played under the legendary Jack Parker, and still coaching at Boston University. And
how many years?
Well, 1972, 73, 74 was my freshman year at BU, and Jack was the head coach.
Wow.
So here we are, 2011, and he's still coaching. So again, if it wasn't for Jack Parker, I wouldn't be in the situation that I'm in today. Jack Parker gave me the opportunity to play college hockey, which led me onto the Olympic team, and then brought me to Herb Brooks, who was then the final coach that I had, and a guy that I have immense love and respect for. Herb was a taskmaster,
right.
But that's how coaches coached in the 70s. He was a disciplinarian. I tell people a lot of times, Herb was like your dad. You love your dad, but sometimes you hate your dad because he makes you do things you don't want to do.
Sure.
That was Herb. Herb didn't care if you liked him, and trust me, there were a lot of times we didn't like him, but it was important that we respected him, and there was never once a time that we didn't respect him. And I think, again, Herb instilled in those values that my other coaches had, which is, again, it's hard work and determination and pride and respect and little things that are so important in your life. I was fortunate to have coaches that made you aware of how important those things were.
That movie Miracle that came out a few years ago, I think was just a stunning,
Right.
awesome movie, and the actor who played the role, I can't think of his
Kurt
name.
Russell.
Kurt Russell. Did he win some kind of award?
He
for
should
that?
have won an
Yeah.
Academy Award because his performance was amazing. Although in the movie they made Herb a little nicer, a little softer. Herb was a little more intense than they showed, but Kurt Russell's performance was spectacular.
Now, Mike, do you find that to be true in all walks of life? In other words, my company, REIC, we're business coaches. We coach entrepreneurs and business owners all over the country. And right now, in a sense, you're being coached by Chris Cavendon, your good friend, and Kibana. We'll talk about that in a moment. Derek Hall, who's the president of Kibana. Craig Johansson, myself, we're your business partners with Dan and Bonnie. And so coaches play an important role in all aspects of life, not just athletics.
Oh, absolutely. I think you look at businesses, you look at companies, that the guy in charge is a coach, and he's got a mentor, he's got people underneath him that he's got to show which way they want to go, which direction they want the team to go. If you want to be successful, the coach is going to lay out a game plan, and you follow that game plan. Again, I'll go back to Herb Brooks. He had a game plan from the beginning. We followed it, and we were successful with it.
Now, it is all about team. There are these individual sports. We'll just use Dan Jansen and Bonnie Blair as examples because they're great Olympic gold medal champions, and they did skate individual races. However, they were still part of a team too.
Right. Well, it's a speed skating team, and they work together. They train together. Dan and Bonnie have known each other since they were little kids, and they race against each other. They help each other train. They help push each other to be successful. So even though it is an individual sport, they still have their teammates that support them and rally around them.
Now, Mike, you mentioned that. Boy, it's amazing how this is related to business because you've mentioned systems.
Right.
You've mentioned that the leader typically has a vision of where they want to bring the team, and that when you follow the leader and the leader has a great vision and a system in place, how great championships can be won like you have done in Bonnie and Dan. And you're a businessman too. I mean,
I am now. I just
well,
became
you are
one.
now, and you have been for a while. I mean, I know that you have this ambassadorship, I think,
Right.
with Ritz-Carlton Properties,
Properties.
and so in a sense, that's a business for you.
Right.
You've been an inspirational, motivational speaker for many years as well. And now you're involved in a health and wellness business with Dan and Bonnie and Kibana, the company we talked about a few moments ago. So how are you going to take the principles that you learned from your great coaches in sports and transfer that over to business? I know some is going to be myself and Chris Cavanaugh working with you.
I think it's very easy. All you do is just remember what you were taught, and
Very good.
it's not very difficult. Transforming from whether you work for yourself or you start work for a business, start a business. You have to have the same values that you had as an athlete, and you just apply them to the business world.
Fantastic. Now, we've been wetting people's whistle here, Mike, for a little while about this partnership between yourself, Dan Jansen, and Bonnie Blair. So we're going to take a short break right now. We're going to leave a little intrigue on the table. When we come back, we're going to talk about this wonderful company you're associated with, Kibana, as well as this team of gold medal champions you put together to literally take the world by storm in the health and wellness industry, which is the fastest growing industry in the world.
Sure.
Okay.